Beta in Equestria, Chapter 2, The Blue One. Morning found him sleeping soundly on his back, his head supported by a bed of flowers that conveniently formed a soft pillow. In the trees above him, the birds chirped and sang happily nearby. The sun smiled down upon him, warming his body to the perfect temperature of comfort and enjoyment. He kept his eyes closed as his mind slowly returned from the dark, peaceful place of sleep that all minds must go when the body is resting. His long, navy blue furred ears twitched, taking in the sounds of life around him. The wind gently blowing through the trees, the birds singing, everything including the sounds of hooves in soft ground far away. "I've died," he thought, his eyes still closed, relaxing in the warm sun. "I have died, and this is the forest in the afterlife." While morbid, it was something he felt he could live with. He stretched his arms and legs, exposing the large oval of light blue fur on his belly. It started below his neck and stretched down his chest to above his groin. Then the pain hit him. "Ow!" he yelped, his side wound reminding him that he was in fact still alive and wounded and sore. "I guess my presence is no longer a quiet secret, is it?" he asked himself aloud, to no one in particular. "Oh, goddess, my muscles are sore," he mentally mused, not wanting to further disturb the peace of the forest he was laying in. Laying his arms back to his sides, he returned to the comfortable position he was in a moment before. Looking up, his eyes clearing, he saw the birds. The birds saw him and looked back. Blinking, he moved his head. The birds' gaze followed him ever so slightly. "These birds are actually looking at me. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Plenty of the animals in the lab's forest talk to me in their own way, but these seem different," he pondered. Trying to sit up, his muscles screamed at him from his exertions last night. How long had he been out? Where was he? His last memory was praying to Luna, the moon. He couldn't imagine it had worked. He was delusional, desperate, but he also knew from books that the gods sometimes took pity on mortals. Perhaps this was one such time. If so, he knew he owed Luna everything. He whined as he forced himself to sit upright, the pain in his muscles from his extreme overexertion warning him not to do anything stupid. Only when he was sitting up did he notice the lack of pain from other places on his body. Yes, his midsection still stung, but that too seemed to be less. Every minor scratch and wound seemed to have healed while he was asleep. He slowly began to remove bandages from his smaller wounds, only to see navy blue fur. He knew his nanites were good, but this was ridiculous. Even the blood and stains in his fur were gone. Any place he had shaved, his fur and skin had grown back. Taking his vest and shirt off, he checked his body using a small mirror from the vest. Nothing. Only the gut wound persisted, and he dared not remove the bandages. It was a pretty deep slice into his midsection. He knew his nanites would need a great deal of time to heal this wound, if they were even capable. He understood that if there was magic involved, it too needed time to fix this wound of his. He sat there, bare-chested, stunned and amazed. I'm healed," he almost whispered to himself. Well, mostly. Reaching back, he grabbed his long, fluffy foxtail. Its navy blue fur faded into a pale blue, then finally a white tip was still there. It was still attached and unharmed and silky. Leaning forward, almost stretching, he reached for his toes, which he spread and wiggled before grasping his footpaws. The stretching, he found, felt good, as his worn muscles needed the elongation. Wincing in pain, he is again reminded of his major wound, and stopped the stretching of his midsection. Using yoga techniques he had been taught, he began to stretch the rest of his body, relieving tension, acids, and other dangerous chemicals built up from a night of overexertion. After an hour, all but his major wound ceased to hurt, and even that seemed to have reduced in intensity. Reaching again for his utility vest, he searched for an energy bar. Half a day's nutrition in 2 square inches. The damn things tasted foul and dry, but they kept you alive. How he wished they had taken his suggestion, making them taste like hamburgers. A hamburger bar. But he supposed that is why they tasted so foul, so you only ate them when you had to. He debated having one. He wasn't quite that hungry yet. He did, however, need to hydrate. Unfortunately, there was only 1 small pouch of water left. He vaguely remembered drinking the rest on the run to keep his plasma production from stopping. He lost so much blood. Well, I suppose there's nothing here that'll kill me, even in this condition, he said to himself, assuming he was the only intelligent, sentient creature in the forest. He was quite wrong. Finally, he looked around at a setting for the first time. Have I wandered into a Disney cartoon? He wondered. It's so beautiful and peaceful, and really, this bed of flowers in a clearing is far too convenient. He then looked around, and then behind himself. Nope, no Jew-hating psychopaths, so definitely not a Disney cartoon. He chuckled to himself at this, the first humorous thought he had had in a while. 2 small rabbits, who had been watching over the stranger since his odd arrival 2 days prior, slowly began to back into the bush. They weren't sure why he had started chuckling, but those teeth of his confused and scared them. He looked so strange. Putting aside that he seemed to be a 2-legs, he had the appearance of both a fox and a rabbit of some sort. His ears were clearly lapine, but his hind legs, his tail, and fangs and parts of his muzzle, which was oddly white, were clearly vulpine. It was like some sort of sick joke. The rustling of the bushes caused his long blue ears to shoot straight up in attention. He was now in prey mode, one he had become accustomed to. He was always being hunted, it seemed. The sorrow and weariness of it all, and fear all suddenly shone on his face. I'm so tired of being prey, he thought in that brief, miserable moment before he found the cause of the disturbance. Looking at the bushes, he understood. It was just a couple of local animals who were probably looking over him. A wash of embarrassment and relief bathed him in relaxation. I mean you no harm. I'm just lost. The 2 small rabbits started to inch forward out of the bushes towards him. He allowed himself a small, friendly smile, pleased that he wasn't scaring them like some kind of monster. He slowly reached 1 paw towards them. I'm lost and alone, and then his stomach let out a loud rumble, reminding everyone that he hadn't eaten in quite some time. Unfortunately for the blue 2-legs, this caused the rabbits to zip off for their lives, thinking they were going to become his next meal. Damn, he whispered. First life I meet that doesn't want to kill me, and they think I want them for breakfast. He bemoaned quietly. The hunger made him remember. The last time he ate was back at the lab. His father, Nasfa, had just given him a cupcake with a single birthday candle on it.